Hi everyone, this is Sky. I'm just coming to you today for a quick coffee chat about the moon and just some general updates on what's, going on with me and the energies and what I've kind of learned coming through this month energetically. It's been a very interesting month, hasn't it? For me, it has been so busy and so regimented. I would say September has been the busiest month of my 2019 so far, with my new ebook coming up on the 23rd of September, having launched my new website, and having been kind of changing up just what I do in general here on YouTube. It's been very busy, and it's been really important to start to put into effect some of the spiritual learning that I've known I had to do this month. This was definitely a month for me, and it may have been for you all as well, where it wasn't really possible to, backtrack, or it wasn't really possible to fall into old ways or to fall into like procrastination, like in order to get all these things done that I'm working on, all these creative projects, all of these different avenues of creation. It wasn't comfortable always. It wasn't easy always. And, I think that the Virgo stellium for me of September was really all about, seeing that sometimes it's not necessarily comfortable or easy to accomplish what it is that you're setting out for. But that's not always bad. There's like finding that distinction point between, okay, this is a little bit difficult or this is uncomfortable, but I need to do it because this is what I've set out for, versus something that's completely not right and that we don't need to be pursuing because it's like harmful to us. I think that I was really towing that line this month, and it's been really interesting to see those lessons sort of be all around for me. And I think it's been such a potent lesson month for sure. I'm just going to come on today, and I wanted to talk about the moon a little bit, as well as just give you guys an update of what was going on. If you haven't had the opportunity yet to pre-order Moon Symbols, it is coming out on September 23rd. I hate to just go on and on about it, but at the same time I don't, because it's been such an incredible labor of love. And it's officially done. It's officially uploaded to all of the manuscript is officially uploaded to all of the vendors, and it's done. It's ready to go on September 23rd, you guys. So I really hope you'll check below and pre-order that. If you haven't pre-ordered it yet on Amazon, it was really cool to see that it was actually charting a few days ago on the pre-order releases. So it's kind of slowed down a little bit, I think, just because we're leading up to the release date itself. But if you would like to go over there, it's only $9.99 on Amazon. I would so appreciate that support, and the quality of the ebook is incredible. It's been in the works for about 7 or 8 months now, and I always knew that I would probably make my first book release something relating to the moon, because I really had that sort of life-changing traumatic cycle between 2014 and 2016. It was for me, but I kind of personally really hit a rock bottom in 2016. But it was a tough year for me. It was, kind of an annus horribilis in a way. And when I really hit that lowest point of feeling despondent, feeling rejected by others, feeling like I had no control over my life, no resources, no independence, all I could really do was look to the moon. And I remember I would go for like nocturnal walks. I would like walk through, walk down the street, or in my neighborhood. I would just walk at nighttime, and I would be like looking up at the moon. And there was something just so humbling and so connected when I felt like I had nothing, when I felt like I had nothing like left to go off of, when my life force felt like it was just like leaving me. I took a certain comfort in the moon and its cycle, and I started really operating during that time on the, new moon, waxing moon, full moon, waning moon cycle. And each new moon, I would say, okay, I'm getting better. Each new moon, I could see that I was getting more energy. I could see that I was getting more, fighting power and more confidence. And, each full moon, I noticed I was feeling a little bit emotionally, stressed, like feeling, maybe my emotions were getting the better of me. Maybe I was putting a little bit of fire onto the gasoline of the situation that was at hand. I noticed that during the full moon. During the waxing moon, I noticed I was like building up to something. I was building up and preparing myself. And during the waning moon, I just noticed that I needed a lot of rest and needed a lot of exhale, a lot of just emptiness, a lot of silence. So I started really working with the cycle of the moon, and it really was a potent asset in my own healing process and in my own just condition as a person when I really went through that Annus Horribilis. And it's kind of hard to talk about, you guys. I'm getting like throat chakra things going on. That's what I've been working on right now in my own healing journey. I've kind of come a lot further, and being very independent now, and not at all being in that really difficult place I was in 2016, and even 2015 and 2014 to a way. But it kind of, for me, the climax happened in 2016. There was like a series of difficult events that led up to just feeling very like back at square one in 2016, and I'm not there anymore. 3 years later here, my life has completely changed, and that's really been thanks to you guys. YouTube has changed my life, and being able to channel that pain and channel that unsureness and that necessity I had of healing and using the spiritual tools that I had to transform my life, not just relying on comfortable background spirituality, but spirituality in action. That's what got me over that hurdle. And it was so hard, guys. Like, I look back to that period of time, and I'm sure that most of you guys have been here before too, because I think most of my audience and most of the people who are around me on this medium, we are people who've been through like deep, dark, difficult, painful, low points. And that's really what I work with as a healer one-on-one. Like, I'm a trauma worker, and I'm a light worker with like extreme darkness, and I like to navigate through the darkness. I think of those like fishes in like the really, really dark parts of the ocean with like the little light things, the little lamps that they have, and I sort of feel like that's what I aspire to, is I try to light up some of these darkest things to kind of really bring them back up to the surface. So anyway, I know that a lot of you are kind of that way too, and that's where I was in 2016, except I didn't have that light, And for me, the moon really sort of was that light during that time, and all of my healing sort of revolved around the moon. And feeling like you have nothing, feeling like you have, no financial security, feeling like you've been rejected by the people who you thought were loyal to you, feeling like you're at the disposal to people who don't have your best interests at heart, and not seeing any way out of that. It is one of the most confining and terrifying places to be. And when you're in that moment, though, when you're in that darkest hour of your experience, it is really the moon that connects with you, that you're connecting with the energy of the moon, and there's so much comfort in it during those moments, because I think what the moon always reminds us of is that life is not static. So life is not still. There is constant change. There's constant ebb and flow. The moon, every month it goes through its full cycle of, being small, being big, getting bigger, getting smaller. And we do that as well. Our cycles may not go on perfect monthly segments, but we have those cycles in our life of, growing really big and shrinking really small, and, coming into the spotlight, into the awareness, and leaving the awareness of other people. And when you're at your lowest point, there's comfort in that, because it reminds you that this isn't permanent. And I think that we also have to remember that when things are going really well, we can't rely on things being perfect to be permanent. We can't rely on things being completely easy, completely natural, completely abundant to be permanent. It isn't the way of life. And if we can use that mentality and know that, life isn't permanent, we can avoid things getting horrendously, terribly low. We can avoid those rock bottoms by not desperately clinging to fixed things, okay? So, not desperately clinging to the relationship, or not desperately clinging to the people who are just kind of actually maybe jealous of us, or, pretending to be there for us when in reality they want to see us fall. And we don't know these types of things. By clinging to those people, we give them all the power, and we take from our own power once we once we wane, once we have our own personal waning process. So that's what I really want to come on today to encourage you to do. Don't get attached to people who have a certain power over you if you're attached to them or if you're reliant on them. It's true that you can really find great people during this time. We have the incredible Jupiter and Sagittarius transiting, so we can find the people that matter, the loyal people here. But sometimes those things do change, so we have to hone our own individual, independent person away from anybody else so that we have that to fall back on, so that we do have something just in case the change of another person or the change of someone that we are reliant on shows them to no longer be placed well with us, if that makes sense. I know it's kind of a complicated stream of consciousness, but that's all that this video coffee chat is just a stream of consciousness. The moon is a great reminder that life isn't permanent. Life is an impermanent, unfixed thing, okay? But fixed energy also exists too. We have the fixed signs, we have Saturn, which are all about rigid, structured, keeping things in place. So we do want that innately too. Like as humans, we want to set things into place and make things constant. And without routine and structure, some things wouldn't be possible at all. I wouldn't be here on YouTube. My ebook wouldn't be out. The jobs that you guys do, the creative projects that you do, they do require structure and fixed mentality at times. But when it comes to our emotional health, fixed structures are not the best. We have to remember that things change. And that's what the moon really reminds me of, is the changing, impermanent, again, nature of life. And it can be a very comforting thing when you're at a low point, but it can be a scary thing when you're at a high point to think, oh no, is this not fixed in place? Oh no, is this going to change? It may not. Timing in life is an odd thing. Sometimes, things can be fixed in place for a long time and suddenly change. Or things that we expect to go really long can just have a small little window of success or comfort. And that's a lot of what October readings for 2019 have been all about. They will be going up on Patreon through tomorrow and the next day. It's about taking your power back, and it's about the nature of power. Through healing the moon, we start to see our own power complexes, and we start to see our reliances and our attachments. And it is through honing those things and gaining vision, true vision of those things, to see how they work, to see how those complexes work, that we can take back our own power. Because oftentimes we see, okay, I'm attached to these people or this person, and I'm basically siphoning all of my power off through that attachment. And this is for people who are kind of in codependent relationships, or, who aren't in healthy relationships. It's not to say that every single person that you're ever going to connect with them is to give them your power, because relationships can also be very empowering too. But when you kind of know that you're in that place, that this relationship, it's not empowering me, it's not bringing me further, these people, this career, this group of people, it doesn't have to be love relationships, it can easily be platonic or familial relationships. When you know they're taking from you, you kind of have to take your power back by not relying on their validations, or not relying on what they represent. So that's what October is so much about for so many people, is taking back power, understanding what your power is to you, and understanding how to channel that into something that gives back to you, because that's what it ultimately became for me. I started my YouTube channel here in September of 2016, so it's my 3-year anniversary, and I never could have expected that it would become what it is. It's not the most big or gigantic YouTube channel, but it's come a long way, and it's been such an incredible gift to have seen, and something that I could have never expected. I thought, maybe I'll, channel out some of this energy, I can maybe help and heal a few people, and it became quite a lot more than I expected, by becoming a full-time career for me too. And ultimately what I had to do that was to channel my pain into power, and to channel my pain into healing for other people. And there were times where that was not an easy process. There are times where that felt so rewarding and where that felt so great to be able to accomplish. But there were times where this whole career has been extremely difficult to upkeep and extremely overwhelming to take on, just because there's a lot to do, there's a lot to manage, and there's a lot to, really sink your heart into, and you don't know whether it's going to go big or go home, or, what you don't expect to do well on YouTube does well, and what you are kind of really putting everything into sometimes falls flat, and that's okay. That is, again, this is another time and another situation where I look to the moon, for example, because you can want for the full moon to be a new moon all that you want, but it's not going to change it. It kind of is what it is, and it does what it does. And there's a prediction there, and there's a predictability about it, but its cycles are fixed, okay? So there's a bit of a paradox there, isn't there? And the best way to work through it is just to rely on the cycle, rely on the changes, know deeply that things will change, and you will really come a lot further into feeling less overwhelmed by life and less in the void space, because that's where I've been, I think, for the last few months, actually, is like really not being afraid. I feel like I've become more fearless personally over the last few months with all these retrogrades that we had, and just having to really walk through a lot of different aspects of life for the last few months. I am not afraid of, a video not getting a huge amount of views, or I'm not afraid of, the figures or the money. That's not really what's important to me at this point in time. I'm just kind of doing what I enjoy, and I'm, testing the grounds of different things. I'm over on Patreon. I'm doing the general readings on Patreon. I am putting things up here on YouTube every week. And, I'm working on the book, just releasing this ebook, and there's going to be more to come as well. And I have a few other projects that are going to be happening in November that I think you guys will love. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But, and I'm just kind of having a random conversation about my side of this, because it's a kind of a one-way conversation. Like, I wish, maybe I'll start live streaming or something here on YouTube so I can, talk to you guys at the same time. I kind of wish that I could have some back and forth, because I don't want it to be, all about me. I hope that you guys will comment below, what you're doing. I want to hear some, specifics of the projects that you've been taking on, how it's worked for you, and how it's, I don't know, how it's not worked out, and how you're growing above, whether it's successful or not, or, what success even means. Success is a very subjective term. Honestly, that I even get one view on YouTube is a success, technically, because in my opinion, I think that one person being helped or one person feeling connected is an incredible success. You don't have to get millions of views to be successful. And I think that in our culture right now with the social media and everything, regardless of whether you're just doing social media personally or whether you own a business and your social media really impacts your business, I think we get really tied into views and metrics and all of those things because they're so connected to our livelihoods. Because if you're a social entrepreneur, those metrics determine the food that you eat and the bills that you pay. So it can be very easy, personally, from my personal experience, to get so wrapped up in that. But not anymore for me. Sometimes everything always comes through, is what I've learned, regardless of what the metric is, or regardless of whether, it's an extremely lucrative month or not a very lucrative month at all. You have what you need. And I think that I've always had what I needed at the end of the day. And I get a lot of incredible comments. I have incredible people who are in touch with me, incredible clients. Oh my gosh, guys, that has been one of the best things of this business for me, is just, my clients and building incredible relations. And if that isn't worth something so much more than money and so much more than views and metrics, I don't know what is. So I really challenge you, regardless of what field you're in, regardless of whether it even relates to social media or metrics or not, get out of the numbers of things, get out of the, I don't know, the egoic reward of figures. That's an important thing right now. We are heading toward a recession in 2020, and I'll probably make a specific video about that. But we have to find value elsewhere right now, and that's a part of healing the moon too, is having a flexible sense of value and a flexible sense of how our values comfort us, how we feel emotional validation from our values or what we have established as our value. That is a part of the moon too. So I address it a little bit in my ebook, and the ebook moon symbols, which may also come to paperback version. Comment below if y'all want that. It was sort of brainstormed as an ebook all along, so it's kind of in a guide format, although it is pretty long. It's about 50 pages, which, is not like a Harry Potter book by any means, but it's long for like a guide, so it's kind of like a hybrid. And it goes into every moon sign, it goes into every house placement for the moon, every phase of the moon, and then it has little, fun facts about different aspects of the moon. So there's a little bit of everything there, and I so hope that you guys will order it on Amazon, because the Kindle version is like really gorgeous and like a little bit different from the other ones. So I have a bit of favor toward it. I was just like looking through it last night as it was all finished, and I was looking at the release version, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty. Oh my gosh, it really felt like legitimate. It really felt like things were coming together, and I had like a moment of, oh my gosh, I'm officially doing this, and I really thought of you guys when I had that moment, because it's like, again, because of you, I can like, devote so much time and like months of like work to an ebook, to something that, other people have to really, not necessarily be able to devote all the time to, and they have to think about it differently. So it's just such a blessing to have been able to do that and to see that come together in that way. And again, that's in the description box below. And I definitely recommend the Kindle version. For those of you who have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. Actually, it is on the Kindle Unlimited, and it has all of the like the new features of Kindle and stuff. It's very like new cutting edge technology ebook, which is a funny concept to me. I think that like the reading is something that we don't really do so much anymore, actually, and that's one of the things that I wasn't sure about, like releasing books or ebooks, is like people are so disconnected from reading. It's video format and media format is now the tried and true way, which actually was the deciding factor for me to do book format, because I'm like, no, let's read black and white, let's get into complex thoughts, paragraphs, chapters, and let's dig deep into something. Our brains are getting really accustomed to reading like one or two sentences of something, then switching formula. So I challenge you guys to read my ebook and go into something deep and complex with multiple paragraphs, and not just in this social media format. And then for those of you who are major book readers, like, y'all will of course love it too, so I challenge you to do it too. And so this video is becoming a lot about my ebook. I didn't really mean for it to just be a marketing piece for my ebook. That's not what this video is, but I'm just really excited about it myself, and it's coming through in my stream of consciousness because it is releasing on September 23rd. Along with a series here on YouTube, which will also be releasing on September 23rd. So the 23rd of September is a big day for me and for y'all too, who've been subscribed for a while, who I just love you guys so much. Like, you guys are my channel's life force. Thank you so much. I'm having my moment here. Guys. So I have really put a lot of effort into giving back, actually, on the 23rd. Things are changing up a little bit on my channel, and there is some videos that you guys are going to love going up. I really think that they're long. They're over a subject matter that I think that you guys will really enjoy, and it's just a lot. So it is kind of my way of saying, like, thank you for being here, and I'm giving back in what way I can, which is through YouTube on here. So I hope that you guys will be checking back during that time. And I'm just thinking, is there anything else that I want to talk about relating to my path, or like the moon, or anything? I've been working so much on breathing lately, and so much on, seeing that everything is possible. Like, when I was in my haste and my like mad rush to get my final manuscript together for moon symbols, I was working through the night here and there, and I was, just working all day, 12, 14, 16-hour days, 70-hour weeks probably for the last 2 weeks. But it's actually been an interesting version of 70-hour weeks, where I wasn't, like, I was making sure that I gave my body like the equal and opposite reaction. And I've really been operating through physics, and that's something that October readings are a lot about, is, operating through physics and seeing, okay, I've worked this like super long day, or I've done something that my body is maybe not accustomed to, or is pushing it a little bit hard, making my brain work really hard. I made sure that I was then, maybe sleeping 8 or 10 hours, and then, really giving myself a quality of work, really giving myself a quality of connection and a quality starting point. And what I found was actually that, really being able to get something done that I might have thought would take 4 or 5 hours in maybe 1 hour, just through making sure I was eating good, making sure I was sleeping good, making sure I was hydrated good, all of those things really helped moon symbols to be something better than I could have anticipated it to be. And that's what was magic about it. Because as some of you guys know, in March of 2018, my thyroid went completely out of whack. And that was because I was working way too hard. And what I was doing during that time, because that was another really busy time for my channel, where I had releases and, different things coming out, I was working those same like 12, 14, 16-hour days, 70-hour weeks here and there. But I was not sleeping enough. I was not eating enough. I was not resting enough. I would work the long day, then I'd set the alarm, and I would get up no matter what, or I would be up into this rigid type of structured schedule that was just not maintainable. So I got very ill because of that, and it took a long time to heal, and I'm pretty much almost back at 100% from that, but it took about, what is it? It's September of 2019, so that takes about a year and a half. And it's still like something that I have to constantly watch out for. And for me, it's been such a success to have been able to do moon symbols and to have marketed it and advertised for it, and, went around and done YouTube at the same time, done my, private readings at the same time, all of that. And, feel okay through making sure that I was prioritizing rest. So that's what I want you guys to do too. And that's the beauty that I've seen, is the ability to work really hard, the ability to do a lot of things. By giving my body what it needs, it compensated. It did what it needed to do, and I came through it and was able to really release something beautiful. And I also go into a little into things about health in the ebook too. Some of the moon signs are all about health. Moon in Scorpio, moon in Pisces, the moon in Aquarius, they're very health-oriented moon signs, and I talk a lot about those aspects of them. And I think another thing that the moon symbols ebook is great for, it's really good for learning about other people in your life. So by learning the moon sign or moon house placement of others in your life, you can use moon symbols as a guide also to work better with them and work more in their court and understand them more at a deeper level. And so that's really what I made it to be, as a guide to understanding ourselves and others around us. So anyway, everyone, I am wishing you so much love and light. And if you are kind of dealing with trauma or dealing with a low point right now, think of the moon. I definitely encourage going for walks at nighttime, or going for walks to see the moon and to sit with the moon, to humble yourself with the moon, and to take comfort in its cycles. Imbuing your full moon and new moon with ritual or with connective affirmation can be so rewarding, and it can be so beautiful to do and so healing. So if you are at a place where you feel like you don't have much, or you feel like you're not going off of much energy, hone your relationship with the moon, and you will see a very interesting puzzle solving path emerge as you work with the moon. So we love the moon. I'm sure a lot of you already know so much about it. And yeah, I think that this time of year is also so great for the moon too, because especially in the northern hemisphere, we are getting to the darker time of the year. The moon is out longer. As we move past equinox, past the 23rd, it is starting to get into longer nights than days. So it's a really good time of year also to hone your relationship with the moon. If you guys are interested in other things that I offer, you can check the description box. I do have an equinox guided meditation called Sacred Architectures. which is also available if you guys were looking to really heal through the equinox, which is more of a solar activity than a lunar activity. So I have both. I've got moon symbols for those of you who are looking for moon healing right now, and then I've got sacred architectures for those of you who are looking for solar healing right now. And sacred architecture has been I've had that for about a year and a half now. That came out, I believe, in spring equinox of 2017, I think it was, but it's a great product. You know, it's kind of a consistent one for me and something that I even go back to myself and that I so enjoyed creating. Also, if you guys wanted to sign up for Patreon, again, October readings are coming in the next 2 days. They'll be going up. I'm just finishing those up as we speak too. And yeah, check back on the 23rd to see an incredible, exciting series that I think you guys will love. Keep that subscribe button hit the like button to get this out there. Comment below, let me know what you're doing or how you use moon healing. If any of you have ritual that you do with the moon, or if any of you have any great insight on the moon, I'd love it if you'd comment it below. Also comment if you've ordered moon symbols or if you're anticipating the release as I am. I would love to hear from you guys. And I'm on social media, Instagram. You can find me on Esoteric Healing on Instagram, and also Sky Starseer on Instagram and Twitter. I have 2 Instagram accounts, a personal and then like one just for my channel here. And yeah, it's all down below, everyone. I am feeling so creatively inspired right now, and this time is such a drawing board for me about the future. So you can also comment below what you'd like to see on my channel here, any topics that you'd like to see covered or anything that you would like to understand more on, and I would love to delve into it for you. I'd like to learn some new things myself, actually, like going into like new spiritual concepts. I want to do something on the chakras soon, and I would like to also maybe do something on the ascendant placement in astrology too, maybe an ascendant series video or something like that, but we'll see. Thanks so much for checking out my video, everyone. I hope your Friday's going wonderful. I post new videos every Friday, so be sure to check back, and I'll be talking to you guys soon. Much love. Bye.